These college girls got caught on camera harassing a street vendor. The internet never fails to show me the absolute worst side of humanity possible. Basically, the story goes that the vendor was selling some hot dogs, as he does, and then these college girls approach him. They start eating the hot dogs, and afterwards, they complain about the price. Apparently, the hot dog vendor told them that the price was $7 in total. Now, it's not really clear how many hot dogs equal to $7. I'm guessing it's 3 to 4 based on the amount of people that are eating. And based on that, it's a pretty reasonable price, honestly. Now, after hearing this price of $7, basically these college girls start to go berserk. Now, I don't know how drunk they are. They're definitely drunk, but they're also spoiled. So they take his food and they start throwing it. They take random hot dogs from his pile, they take bites, spit on it, put their saliva on it, and put it back into the pile to contaminate the rest of the food. They take some of his equipment, blah, blah, blah. It's basically just some vile behavior. Now, luckily for the street vendor, basically another stranger was actually recording this whole situation from afar, and they managed to actually bust all these girls. This is a sweet story of karma doing its work.
In a viral video, a California street vendor named Andres Arguellos Alvarez says he was bullied by a group of young women.
What do you mean? Another hot dog. Should we move? No, sir.
In it, you can see 4 young women lined up against the vendor's grill. One woman starts to berate him for his prices.
You charge me $7, I'm gonna
please.
you over. You
Can you
understand?
move it?
Yeah, you
Please.
understand.
The vendor says he asked them to leave. Instead, 2 women start grabbing and throwing his food. The video has now been seen more than 2 million times. The vendor telling Noticias Telemundo how it all made him feel.
Now, before we look at the vendor's response to this whole situation, let's watch the full clip of the interaction. Before you watch this, keep in mind that this guy doesn't really speak English very well, and this is quite a common thing that happens. When these absolute spoiled brats over here notice that you are from another place and speak another language and your English isn't actually perfect, they start treating you like you're a different life form. It's just this disgusting way that they act, which is so obviously motivated by racism. I refuse to believe that they're just mad at the $7 because you don't really start treating people like this out of the blue.
You charge me
Don't-
7,
don't
I'm
say
gonna
nothing,
fuck you
please.
over. You
Can you
understand?
move it?
Yeah, you
Please,
understand.
please.
I got it.
She's not doing anything, to be honest.
Fuck me over. I'm gonna fuck you over.
We're not doing anything. We're not even in
Okay,
your
can you move,
there.
please? Can you move?
Well, what if you
What do
wanted
you
another
mean?
hot dog? Should we move? No, sir.
Oh,
No, we
yeah.
should not.
Everyone another hot dog.
Oh my God. What are you doing?
I'm...
Yeah. Go.
Yeah, it's so funny that you're openly committing a crime. Isn't that hilarious? Let's look at the list of crimes over here. You're eating food you didn't pay for. You're not respecting the vendor's boundaries over here, getting overly close to his food and contaminating it, doing way more damage than the initial $7. He should charge you way more at this point. It's so funny and hilarious how we're wasting all this food and pretty much ruining this guy's day. These type of people need a serious slap to the face, honestly. I don't know how badly you actually have to be raised to act like this. There is literally zero manners, zero concern, zero empathy or human decency, just 100% dumb bitch. This makes my blood boil, honestly. Like, the dude probably has it hard enough dealing with these college brats on a daily basis, trying to make a living selling hot dogs, which is obviously not easy. Moving around a cart all day, a lot of the time, like, if there's not enough customers, the food can go to waste as well. It's a really hard business to make work. It's hard enough to even make enough money to get by, depending on the area. And we got these privileged freaking college kids just from a sorority as well, which is like, I'm not too familiar with it, but from what I understand, it's like a snobby girls club. I don't know, I'm probably getting a little too mad for this video, but just the way I've been raised, we don't stand for the shit at all. Like, I'm definitely not a confrontational guy at all, but this is one of those situations where if I was there, I would actually try to step in and, I don't know, start screaming at these girls. Now, moving on from that, the guy actually gives an interview in response to the whole situation, and there's actually a really happy ending here, which we'll get to, both on the vendor's side and on the girl's side. Basically, on the girl's side, they found their university, sorority, family business, and completely eviscerated them. Basically, they made their future prospects non-existent. These girls actually had to end up deleting all of their social media. I don't know what to say. That's just the internet doing its thing. Like, that's kind of what happens when you play with fire and get exposed like this. Obviously, they didn't know it was going to be on the internet, which is why you should always try to act like a good person, even when you think nobody is looking. Obviously, they weren't doing a lot of thinking there, considering they were intoxicated, but is what it is, you know, you sow what you reap. Now, on the guy's side, there's a very good story. He gets a ton of business from this whole situation. There's actually like a mile-long line, which I'll show you in a second.
Me agarraron el bacon con la mano, todos mis vegetales, todo lo que ocupo. Ellas se dieron cuenta pues que yo era mexicano, que yo no hablaba muy bien inglés y pensaron, a él podemos atacarlo.
The student who recorded the video explained on TikTok that she did not know the women involved.
I'd much rather just show the world how these girls go out in public and act than get myself involved. Also, I mean, for everyone saying that we should have said something, we did. After this video, we did say something. The hot dog vendor is also the sweetest man. The vendor did nothing to provoke this. It was just the girls coming into it, angry and drunk and ready to start something.
Listen, obviously, alcohol will bring out the worst in you, okay? Everybody knows this, but I don't think it fundamentally changes you as a person. I don't think it rewires your neurons to go from a good person to a bad person. I don't think it can ever be used as an excuse to justify doing horrible things. The fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter if you were intoxicated while doing all these horrible things, because you are responsible for your actions as a human being and you will get what's coming to you. I gotta give serious props to this girl for recording the whole situation. Luckily, there are good people in this world. She also mentioned she did try to step in immediately after. It was very important to get that on camera as well so that the girls will have justice, because if she just stepped in that situation, okay, the vendor is safe for a day and the girls don't harass him or whatever, but they might go on to do it to another vendor at a future time. They definitely need to learn from this. So I think recording it was definitely the optimal move over there. Now, I know from my videos, sometimes it seems like the world is all bad and all of that, but I'm sorry for that. There's definitely good people, as I'm showing in this situation as well, okay? Now, people are arguing as to whether this was racially motivated. I definitely think it is, because if you see a guy who can't communicate in English as well as you, kind of just start treating him subhuman. I've seen this happen plenty of times before. It's happened to me before as well. I've had some IRL situations in the past that were kind of tough to deal with. If you guys were around at the start of my channel, a lot of people made fun of my voice. Apparently it was really squeaky and high-pitched back then, and I couldn't speak too well. I had to repeat my sentences a bunch of times. It was only after I started YouTube and practiced pretty much every day that I learned how to speak well, and this was at age 19 or 20. And if you've never experienced this yourself, there is like this level of condescension people have towards people who are not speaking exactly the same way as they do, you know?
A spokesperson for Cal State San Marcos said a current and 2 former students were among the group of women involved, telling NBC News the women's behavior is, quote, disrespectful, and the school's dean of students is currently reviewing all available information, adding, if applicable, we plan to pursue any violations of our student code of conduct. The women haven't been accused of a crime, but the video comes as attacks against street vendors in California are on the rise. In Los Angeles, which has around 10,000 street vendors, robberies targeting street vendors doubled last year.
Anyways, they go on to say that this is a trend, apparently. Street vendors are getting brutally harassed, like verbally and non-verbally, like physically as well. It's kind of the same logic of just treating people with the menial jobs as kind of lesser than you, like a janitor or a street cleaner. You'll just see certain types of people, just treat them like they're not human at all, completely ignore their existence, or make those disgusting faces at them. Apparently, respect was just not taught to a lot of people, and it's just really sad to see. Anyways, after this, the internet actually comes together to do a wonderful thing. They pretty much end up giving this guy unlimited business with a street line so long that you literally can't see the end of it. I just want to reiterate that on social media, of course, the negative things get amplified. I just want to show like a little light to the positive aspects of this. A lot of these people are just absolutely wonderful, going out of their way to help this guy after he was wrong. I genuinely hope his business does really well in the future, and this is just a lesson on karma. Do good things will happen to you. Do bad things, and you'll get a pain in the ass. And you know another good thing you can do? Click on this video, or no hot dogs for you, okay? Bye-bye.